Okay, so this is a follow-up video to my modern Commodore 64 hardware and software in 2024, and during that video I mentioned the Ultimate II+L cartridge, and this is what this video is going to be about. So for those of you who's not watched the modern Commodore 64 hardware, check that video out. So today we're going to be looking at this one. So I had this for my birthday just a couple of days ago from my partner, and I've been playing around with it, and it's a really impressive cartridge. So what is this? It pretty much emulates discs 1541 drive, essentially. It's got a nice speaker built in it, so when we're playing this with the Ultimate II+L, it gives you the sound of discs being loaded, which is really nice. Also lights up, so that's one of the reasons I wanted a transparent case, but these are also available in a range of different colors from Gideon's Logic. I'll leave the website in my description. So let's take a look around this. So first of all, this thing is going to plug into the C64's expansion port. As you can see in the background, I've got 64C. It's also going to work with a breadbin C64. If we take a look on the side, we got the serial port, and this actually comes with a serial DIN cable. So this is going to plug into the side, and the other end of the cable is going to go into the serial port on the C64. We got USB just here on the side. This is blue. Now it's recommended not to put USB sticks into this port just here. We've also got a phono port just here, and I've connected my speakers up with this, and we've also got another audio port. If we turn around here, we got 3 switches. One of these is going to actually take us inside to the menu itself, but I'll go into that. And if we turn it around again, we got Ethernet port, and we got 2 more USB ports, and we got a power port. Now, I've got a USB stick with this. This is a SanDisk. So for the cartridge to actually recognize the USB stick, it needs to be formatted to MBR. If it's anything else, it's unlikely going to work, and that's the problem I had. So eventually I realized I needed to format this stick in a particular way. It's also formatted to FAT32. So anyways, what we're going to do next is plug this in. Okay, so like I mentioned, the cartridge is going to just pop into the back in the expansion port on the C64. I'm then going to put my USB stick containing my games into the USB port. And also remember, if you're planning on using .d64s or image files for discs, then just remember to put in your serial cable on the left hand side, and the corresponding end is going to go in your serial port on the C64. Now I'm using external speakers because I'm using a computer monitor, so what I'm going to do is put phono into the green port, and my external speakers also need to be powered by USB. So what I'm going to do is actually pop this into my Ultimate 2 cartridge, and that's it. So we can now power on the C64. And as you heard just then, as we power it on, it makes the sound of a 1541 drive. Okay, so once we've actually turned on the Commodore 64, all we need to do next is just press the middle button on the back of the cartridge itself. Okay, so once we press the middle button, the first thing you're going to see is this screen, Ultimate II+L. And this came shipped with the latest firmware, so I don't need to update this. If I did want to update, it's just literally a simple case of just popping a couple files onto the USB stick and updating it from there. But like I said, this does come shipped with the latest version of firmware, so we don't need to worry about that. So from here, what we can do is press the cursor up and down button, which is going to give us different options where to go. And of course, if we press the shift button as well as the cursor button, we can then go upwards. Run stop is also a very important button to use, as well as your function keys. So what we're going to do first of all with this is press the shift and the F1 button, and this is going to bring us into the main options. So from here, if we press return to go into clock settings, we can actually set this up correctly, but this is actually set up correctly for me anyway. So if we want to edit files or whatever, the battery in the Ultimate II+L can also give us the date and the time because of the battery it's got. So if we want to come out of this screen, what we're going to do is press shift and my cursor left and right button. That's going to bring us back here. We also got audio output settings. If I press return to go in here, we got lots of different options for SIDs just here, and it also emulates both SID chips. For example, if we go to SID right filter curve, if I just press return on that, we can actually change SID chips just here from the 6581 to the 8580. So there's lots of different sound options just there to play around with, which is really interesting if you're into that type of thing. Again, to come out of this screen, if I press the shift key and my cursor left and right, this is going to bring us back here again. We got network settings. Now, according to the Gideon's Logic website, we can't actually connect to the internet as such right now at this moment in time, but it does have an Ethernet port in the cartridge itself, so hopefully that will get implemented at some point. If we come out, we've got modem settings, we've got Wi-Fi settings. Now, if we go down to tape settings, this cartridge is going to run pretty much everything, but it won't run .tap images. Now, if you buy one of these cartridges, you've got an option to buy an attachment, which is going to go into your dataset port in the back of the Commodore 64, but I didn't really want one because I'm not a big fan of waiting a few minutes for a game to load up. But the option's there, and you can actually change the speed of the tape playback. Currently, this is set to PAL 0.98 megahertz. If I press return on this, we can use the NTSC version, which slightly increases the speed. If we go down to drive A settings and press return, this is emulating the 1541 drive. If we go to drive type, we can actually change it to the 1571 as well as the 1581. So you've got multiple options there for different disk drives. Drive bus ID is currently set to 8, so that's going to be drive 1, and I suppose if you want to use drive 2, it's going to be number 9 and 10, 11 and so on. If we go down to ROM for 1541 mode, this comes shipped with different ROM files, so we can actually use a 1571 ROM if that's what you want to do. From here we can add extra RAM, so currently I've actually got this one enabled anyway. Okay, so I'm going to press my run stop button and we're actually going to go into my USB stick. So I just need to select USB 1 SanDisk and enter. And I've created a folder on my computer, so images, and if I enter this, I've got several different images for this video. So we got the CRT folder, which has got a game in it. We got D64 folder, G64, PRG, REU games, which I forgot to mention, this actually runs RAM expansion unit games, which are designed for RAM expansion. And we also got a SuperCPU game, and yes, this cartridge also runs SuperCPU based games really well. I've got a tap folder, but like I said, I don't actually have the attachment for this. So first of all, let's just start from the top. If I go to CRT and enter this folder, I've got some games here. For example, if I go down to Alien 3, I've got an easy flash version of this game. I'm going to just press return and run cart. And here we go, we're straight in. So obviously CRT images are the quickest way to get gaming. If I want to come out of that game, all I need to do is press the middle button on the back of the cartridge, and that's going to bring us back to the menu screen. So I'm going to come out of here by pressing shift in my cursor left and right button, and we're going to load up a D64 image. So if I just go down to this and press return, and I've got Nightingale, which is one of my favorite C64 modern games. So if I press return on this, I could either mount the disc and type in the commands myself to load it as a physical disc, like a real thing, or I can actually go down to run disk, press return. And as you can hear there, it's actually loaded up and sounded like a real disc, which I think is really nice. Now I can also play around with options whilst I'm in games. So again, if I just press the middle button and come out of here, and again, if I press my shift button and my F1 key, for example, if I go down to audio output settings, and once I played around with my audio settings, if I press run stop, save changes to flash, I can press return to save these changes. Okay, so very impressive sound with these speakers combined with the cartridge itself. So our next section is going to be G64 images. So in this folder, I've got one of my all-time favorite games, in fact, Flimbo's Quest. Again, if I go to run disk, okay, next up we're going to test .prg. So in my PRG folder, we got a fairly new game here, Robot Jet Action. Again, if I just go to run this, okay, so next up we're on to the RAM expansion unit games folder. Now if we enter into this one, we got Sonic the Hedgehog, which came out a couple of years ago, and this does need a RAM expansion unit, but like I was saying, the Ultimate cartridge actually has this built in to support these games. So if I press return on side A, and I'm going to run disk, okay, so it's going to say insert side B and press bar to continue. So for diskette games, if you need to switch to side B, it's just a simple case of pressing your middle button on the cartridge, and I'm going to go down to side B and press return. I'm going to go to mount disk, and then press bar on my joystick. Okay, and finally we got SuperCPU. So if I go into my SuperCPU folder, enter this. Now I've got Metal Dust, which is a game designed to run with SuperCPU. So if I load up the .d81 image, if I go to run disk, now it's going to tell us just here that we need to change it to the 1581 drive. So if I just press OK here, and let me just remind you that we can actually change or edit names. So for example, if I want to change the name of my SuperCPU folder, if I just go to rename, I can change it to anything I want. So if I press install and just name this to SCPU, press return, and there we go, we've now edited that file. If I go back into the game then, so that's what the II++ cartridge can do. Of course, it's got lots more to offer, such as recording onto cassette tapes and so much more, but there's too much in fact to add into this video. This was really a video just to give potential new owners of the II++ cartridge a glimpse of what it's got to offer. So like I said at the start of the video, its main primary purpose to emulate the 1541 drive, which it does really well. Who is this aimed for? So really, in my opinion, hardcore Commodore 64 geeks like myself. This emulates everything I want it to emulate, and it does it so well. It's FPGA based, and let me just say, the next video I've got coming is a LumaFix 64 video. As you've seen in the footage, the screen quality isn't the greatest, but we're going to sort that out. And I'm also going to be uploading a brand new transparent case, and I'm going to go through a guide of that, how to get a new case for your C64 and make it look very funky. Anyways, if you like this video today, hit notifications, subscribe and like so you don't miss upcoming retro emulation content. Also join me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. But until next time, stay Commodore.